We get in a limo and we go to CAA, and there's about like 400-500 fans waiting at the front of the building. So we get escorted straight into the Death Star by security guards, and we like go into the building, sit down at a table, and they're pretty much like, "What do you guys want?" And we're like, "We want everything."
Have you ever witnessed around that scene people literally selling their soul to a record company or a movie? Did you witness any of that? Does that exist?
I witness it every single day.
So what does it mean when you hear that?
Still now, it's people creating art to bring people away from God.
Were you pretty affluent?
Yeah, like millions.
We have an absolute Aussie YouTube icon star in the house. I can't wait to chat about him and his life. Beau Brooks, welcome to the dos&d show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Mate, thanks for making the trip. It's we understand it's not a short one, mate. So for you taking your time out of your day for us, it means a lot. So first, mate, maybe share a little bit about your life currently. That would be really great.
Cool.
Yeah,
awesome. I almost wasn't about to come, as you guys know. I sent you guys a DM before coming, saying I don't think I can do it. I don't think I'm ready for the camera. I'm just in a bad place at the moment. And to be honest, at the moment, in the past few months, I've just like taken on so much. So I'm training for a 100-kilometer run at the end of the year, and every day I'm running at least 15 to 50 kilometers. Wow. It's always different. And this morning, after a run last night, I woke up at 5 a.m. to jump on the bus, to get to work, to do an 8-hour shift. And throughout the 8-hour shift, I was just thinking, like, I'm just so physically and mentally tired and exhausted. So, like, an easy opt-out was to message you guys and tell you I wasn't going to come. But then, you guys told me how much you have prepared for it and put behind it. And I'm like, I can't do that to you guys. So,
and it's funny, Beau, like we appreciate that because, and this is a good one for even the listeners to understand is, and we even said it after you said, "Oh, I am coming." We said, I think we need to let our guests know in advance what it actually is. It's not just like, hey, pop over for an hour. We've got a couple of mics and let's click record. It's much more than that now. So I think, from our point of view, we probably need to prepare you a bit more and tell you like, hey, it's not just a small little podcast, is it?
That's it, exactly. But mate, we're so appreciative that you're here, and we're going to cover a lot, I think. Typically we don't always go through tell us your story and go through your journey chronologically, but I think parts of it would be good because we want to get to where you are today. But in order to get there, I think it'd be good to go all the way back and hear a bit about your background. So we are going to have a laugh. We're going to watch some Janoskians, some classic stuff a little bit later. But for those living under a rock, who were the Janoskians? How would you describe it? And how did it all begin?
So I don't think you can say people living under a rock anymore because I've pretty much fallen off the edge of the universe. No one knows who I am anymore. So
I would beg to differ based on a few people that I've told you're coming on the show. They couldn't wait, so I don't know about that.
Sweet.
Including one of our producers.
I appreciate that. It's nice to be recognised sometimes. So thank you. So started off at a young age, creating YouTube videos with my brothers, and invited a couple mates along the way to come and film some videos. And we just loved filming videos and acting the way that we did on camera. And it just popped off for us. And we filmed the right things at the right time. And it was like 2010, 2011 when we started uploading to YouTube. And we got recognized by a lot of people. Began in Melbourne, and then it branched out to the rest of Australia, and then it branched out worldwide, just filming kind of just stupid fun content with my brothers and friends.
Well, and we were talking off air, like these things don't, some people watching may go, oh, well, good for them, it all happened by accident, but I believe these things don't happen by accident. We can talk about the videos, we can watch the videos, we can laugh at the videos, but there has to be at some stage, there has to be some kind of plan and vision and direction as to where you're going and to create something so big, because I believe you can only go so far by luck. What was the vision? How did you guys actually grow it to take it from one level to a serious international audience?
So it was just us every single week deciding to film a new video again out of excitement and joy for it. that was how it began with. It was just like, yes, we can't wait to after this school week ends. To film a new video, and we'd all come up with ideas while we're at school, and then at the end of the week go and film a video. So the more fun we had with it, the more momentum we'd build. And what ended up happening was a lot of people got behind the videos and wanted to meet us in person. And when that happened, when we got about 4,000 or 5,000 people meeting us at Luna Park to just like meet us and say hi and get a signature and stuff, is when we started getting recognized by major corporations and companies who did have a plan for us, because we were just teenagers and we just wanted to have fun.
Yeah.
So we were introduced to companies and corporations that promised us the world. And I kind of just put stars in my eyes personally: movie deals, record deals, and touring deals.
We're talking like management companies?
It began with MTV. They're not a management company. They just wanted to get content for their online website. And then it happened with Sony Records. And when Sony Records happened, my mum was kind of managing us at the time. But we started getting recognized by international management companies from the US who wanted to sign us on to kind of get us bigger deals and then take us to the world stage. So it began with the corporations first, and then the management came along after and kind of set us up with a plan, because we just wanted to film and have fun. And they were the ones to say, okay, but if we do this, we can get you here, and then from here we can go over there. And they kind of helped us, map it all out and plan it while we had the vision in our head of where we wanted to go.
So maybe paint that picture for us. You're sitting down with the whole crew. Your mum might be in there, maybe one of these corporations or businesses you're talking about, mapping out the plan. What was the roadmap that you remember them kind of selling to you?
Yeah, so it was when the management crew from the US flew over to Sydney as Jay Sean's manager.
Okay.
So we had heaps of different management companies reach out to us, but it was all through email, and we didn't really take any of them seriously because my mum thought all these people are sharks. They just want your money. Until this one guy said, I'm flying from LA to Sydney. I want to sit down with you guys and I want to tell you the plan. So me and my buddy went to Sydney from Melbourne, and we went and sat in this little studio, and we walked in and we see this guy wearing white Nike shoes and blue jeans. He looked just like a dad, and he's a Star Wars geek, kind of chubby.
Yeah.
And he's like, boys, let's talk. He's from New York.
How old are you at this stage?
I would have been around 18.
Okay.
Pretty
And
so young.
So I had a dream since I was like 5 years old to become an actor. I always just wanted to be an actor. I looked up to Leonardo DiCaprio, and before any of this Janoskians stuff kicked off, I actually went to Orlando in America to do auditions in front of casting agents, and I got a few callbacks, but the Janoskians were kicking off. So when we went and sat down with the management team, he was pitching. He's like, "All right, guys, if I don't get you guys a movie deal, a touring deal, and a brand new record deal with a $500,000 advance in the next 6 months, you guys can sign on to someone new and I won't take any percentage. In fact, I'll even help you get to the people that can take you to that position."
Wow.
And so he sold me, and it was easy for me to sell my mum because he made it so sellable. And so within that 6 months, he flew us over to America, got us in with some big companies. There's this big company in Los Angeles, which is also known as the Death Star. As I mentioned, the manager is like a Star Wars geek. So he said, this is the Death Star. You guys want to sign with the Death Star. And that is CAA. And CAA is a talent management where...
I know CAA.
Yeah.
They do a lot of actual European soccer players too. A lot of...
Yeah.
They do everyone.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what they are is a hub for all major corporations to come through them.
Gotcha.
And to get the most respected kind of talent and anyone in the industry trying to look to go on a global stage. So there's another one in LA, but I forgot their name because they're not that important. But CAA was like the Death Star. And he's like, we need to get you guys in CAA if you guys want a movie deal with Lionsgate. And we're like, okay.
Wow.
How do we do that? And he's like, I unfortunately kind of have pull, but I don't. If you guys really want to get in the office, send out a tweet to all your fans and say, meet us at this location at this time. which was in front of the CAA building. So we sent out the tweet and we're like, we're going to be here on Monday at 3 p.m. Come along. We'd love to meet you. And so we get in a limo and we go to CAA, and there's about like 500 fans waiting at the front of the building. So we get escorted straight into the Death Star by security guards, and we like go into the building, sit down at a table, and they're pretty much like, what do you guys want? And we're like, we want everything. And so that kind of happened through our fans, like our fans who loved the videos and stuff, promoted us to the next level to be on the world stage through these major corporations and companies.
You made a really good analogy before. Like at the time, well, not an analogy, you're just stating facts. Like at the time, you think of One Direction and 5 Seconds of Summer, but then your content's like this jackass kind of style content, but then you're almost being branded or pushed as this boy band. So how did that all come about?
Yeah, so we didn't really have any talent. But we had that vibe.
Yeah.
That One Direction and 5 Seconds of Summer had. We had that boy group friend vibe.
Chemistry. You had chemistry.
That's it. Yeah. That was the word. Yeah.
Yeah.
we had that chemistry, and we knew that we had that chemistry, but we didn't have anything to like we didn't have any songs to sing. So that's when I slipped my neck on the red carpet. I fell off a surfing board and on the red carpet, and I had to get ambulance and everything to put a neck brace around me, and continued on to take photos.
Oh my God.
We had that chemistry, but we didn't have singing. So all we knew what to do was just to mess around, and that's kind of just what we did. And so when Sony Records saw that we had that chemistry, they saw what that chemistry did with One Direction. So they're like, all right, like they didn't care if we could sing or not. They saw that we had the fan base, and they're like, all right, let's push music through them, because we've seen what this model does already. And so my brothers and I, like, we always loved like playing guitar and singing. We weren't like the best, but we enjoyed it. And so when they offered us a record deal, we're like, yeah, cool, sounds fun. Why not? And we just took it and did it. And then from the jackass kind of stunts, we ended up building a set list of music of up to like 12 different songs. And they were all different genres and different meanings and different lyrics and stuff. But it all just tied together with everything that we were doing, just being ourselves, I guess, and having fun, and just like being teenagers and just not knowing what we're doing and just going with it.
Does it baffle you that, well, it baffles me that as a teenager, you sign with a company, you go to the other side of the world, and you just trust these people? Like, you're so young to just not sign your life away, but to give all your trust to this company to go, you're going to, I'm not going to go and study to be a teacher, or I'm not going to go and learn to be a fireman, or like, I'm going to just trust these managers that I'm going to, it's just baffling to me. Like, was that now looking back, do you go, far out, like, I was so young, I can't believe we did that, you know?
Yeah, it's something I've had to learn as a person growing into this world, is to have an armor up, because even though that innocence and vulnerability it's nice to have, it can also damage you if you're not careful. And being too trusting can allow some bad energy sometimes to take from you. And it's taken me a very long time to be able to put my armor up and say no, being able to say no. It's taken me some while to learn that, and I'm still learning how to do that.
The other question I have is, when you're going to these meetings, you're talking about you're being the one, like you're almost a spokesperson on behalf of even your brothers, as the eldest one. Did you feel pressure to make the right decision on behalf of them? Did you guys ever have conversations about them putting their trust into you and what decisions that you'd be making on behalf of the group?
Yeah, and I guess that's why it kind of all did fall apart, is because there was no conversation like that. There wasn't like, what are we doing and what are our goals? We were just taking every single opportunity that came our way and just like hoping for the best.
Yep.
And I guess I'm pretty sure I know that's kind of why it ended, is because we just took everything on board.
Isn't this episode with Beau Brooks a ripper?
It's captivating, isn't it?
Yeah, but we want to interrupt because we want to say a big thank you to our partner, Fleet Plan Hire Solutions.
I love them, Dos. It's not just because of what they do out on the work site. It's actually their customer care. And it all starts in the office. Chris and the team, they look after you, number one in customer care.
Head to fbh.com.au to find out more today.
Let's get back to the episode with Beau Brooks.
When you got over to the States, how does it work in terms of living, and are you supported pretty well in that aspect? And they go, hey, here's your house, or do you have to? And this is being naive, even though I probably know the answer. But for those that don't, how does it work? With a management company getting you a house or residence, and hey, this is everything just changes from Australia to America. How does that all work?
So there was investment money or seed money that came from Jay Sean, and it was, I think, $100,000 to fund us to go over there to be able to then work to be able to get a visa through a company, and that company was Lionsgate, who ended up funding our visas to be able to work there for 4 years, which is what our visas were. But in the beginning, before we were able to make that $100,000 back for them to know that this is an okay investment to continue on forward, we were living out of hotel rooms for about 6 months.
Wow.
And it began with like really luxurious, nice hotel rooms like the W and stuff until we trashed them. And we ended up like having to pay like 80 grand to the W and got blacklisted from all their chains of hotels because we like just absolutely trashed every single hotel that we went into. Smoking fines, eating out the mini fridge, burn holes in the carpets, the phone off the hook,
Sounds like Project
holes
X.
in the wall. Yeah. I'll get to Project X later. But so we ended up living, after all that, we learnt our lesson real quick, and we ended up living in like a stay-in inn until we ended up finding this huge mansion. And this was from a radio host named Big Boy. He was the only one that would let us 5 boys who were like all under the age of 20 move into a house in LA. So we had no real option for renting other than his house. And it's just this massive.
No one else would take you.
No one else would take us.
Fair enough.
Who would? Like, everyone knows what like 5 young, rich 20-year-old boys are going to be doing.
So you didn't live separate at all throughout?
No, we all lived together. Yeah.
How, I don't know if you're happy to disclose, but how much money were you kind of making as a group back then? Like you say, as 20-year-olds 10 years ago, like you said, you just used the word rich. Were you pretty affluent?
Yeah, like millions.
And where was this? Was this coming through YouTube? Was it coming through merch? Where was it coming?
Yeah, so we're making our money through advances through companies, YouTube monetization, merchandise, touring, and brand deals. We're getting quite a fair bit of money from brand deals, and the brand deals, because my brothers and friends were always like saying no to selling out. So some of the brand deals, people wouldn't even realize we were making money from. So like we put a filter on a YouTube video, which is like what you do on Snapchat now.
Yeah.
And it was just like a filter that makes colors more vibrant. And then in the description, we said we use this filter. We got paid 20 grand just for using a filter on a YouTube video.
And you didn't have to push it and promote it. You just used it.
It was just in the description.
That's crazy.
And we put the filter on the actual video. So like we'd get, and then also platforms like, like TikTok.
Yeah.
There was a platform called Keek, and they'd want us to be on their platform. So all we'd have to do is upload 10 videos each per month, and we get like 15 grand each just to stay on their platform.
Wow.
For the month.
Yeah, for the month, and this would be like we'd sign on for like a year with negotiations. So it'd be 15 grand a month for a year with negotiations to re-sign based on what we brought to the app. But we brought so much to that app. People still message me saying, "I miss the Keek days," and it's like, like nobody actually really knows we were like getting paid money just to be on that platform. Like Keek was nothing before we even went on that platform. But yeah, we're making money through our brand deals and platforms and kind of all that type of stuff.
I find that really interesting about the smaller brand deals, because I also think about today's day and age. If you had what everyone else has back then, like you were making that money before social media was even a thing, which is hard to even comprehend.
Yeah. So it was hard for us to get brand deals back then, because if we had the kind of influence that we had back then right now, brands know the value of it now.
True.
But back then, the people that were sitting behind these big companies and corporations were old men. So it was hard for them to understand the value of social media. So like if we were popping off now like we were back then, I'd say we'd probably be making the tens of millions of dollars. But yeah, it's different now. It's like, because like, you know how they say the pioneers never really get the rewards. It's the people that come after the pioneers that kind of see all the fruits that the pioneers built for them.
What's the quote about
Yeah.
those planting trees that they will not like? What is it? It's something about those who plant trees, but they won't get to sit in the shade of the tree that they plant. I can't remember the quote.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it's like
Yeah.
you've planted the tree and the seed,
Yeah.
but you don't actually get to reap the fruit or get to enjoy it yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, today's day and age do, which is like when we have friends who are creators and you hear certain numbers and you just think, wow, like for that size and you're getting paid that's pretty amazing. To think about yourself and the guys, like you said, it would be tens of millions, and it's quite scary, to be honest. What you guys could have been making back then,
Yeah.
or today's day and age.
It's probably a blessing that we didn't see that type of money, because who knows the person that I'd be right now. But once a pioneer, always a pioneer, because even though I'm not in the field that I created, now I'm a pioneer in what I'm doing at the moment. And in 5 to 10 years' time, people will be interviewing me about what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
And there'll probably in 5 to 10 years' time be people who are a lot better than what I'm doing right now, which is spreading the word of God and spreading the word of Jesus. And I do believe that I am a pioneer to be able to do it on social media with the foundation that I've built, and using that to propel myself forward and to propel God's word forward from the beginning. And so yeah, I do see a lot of value out of the person that I am, which is just a courageous and brave person to be able to step first in the front line.
100%, especially in today's day and age. Like we'll go and talk really deep around that a little bit later on. Before we move too much further, because I do want to keep advancing the story, but before we do, we need to watch at least. Sammy's been up all night going down rabbit holes of his favourite YouTube videos for the last 12 years. But Sammy, I'm going to leave it up to you. I want you to pick one of your favourites, and I just to give the audience a bit of a taste of the Janoskians, so we can see where all this brand's money was going towards. I just want to. What's that?
What's that?
Dare Sundays.
Well, that was the thing. Yeah.
Here we go. Here's some fresh face. Teenagers, I suppose.
Oh, this is snakes in a bar. Oh, Beau's out. He's climbed out.
Oh, nah, yuck.
Nah.
What kind of snakes are we talking here?
They're pythons, I'm pretty sure. Non-venomous.
Yeah.
So okay, to create a video like that, what goes through your head? Take us through. I want to hear the creative side. Did you guys, for your video content, like I said at the start, nothing happens by accident.
Yeah.
What was your creative process? Did you sit down as a group and plan? Did you have one that was a writer and said, "Hey boys, I've got a great idea. Let's jump in a bath and throw snakes in it"? How did it all come about?
Well, I remember at that time it was us versus Mr. Beast, and he was just coming through, and he was doing crazy stuff like burying himself alive, which I'm pretty sure we came up with that idea first, but he jumped on it first. We never did. But back then, it was always trying to push the envelope and seeing how far we could go, the most craziest thing. So at that stage, it's kind of like, what would be crazy? Oh, let's get a snake handler. And then we're like, no. Let's let the snakes like go all over our body. And then someone else was like, how about we get in a bathtub? And someone else was like, oh, how about we all get in a bathtub and we put like 7 or 8 snakes in there? And we're like, where do we get the snakes? Someone's like, I know a snake handler guy. And we're like, all right, call him up, ask him to come tomorrow. Yep. Can they go in a bath with people?
Never been done before.
Never been done before, but yeah, exactly. But we can try. Just don't move too much, and you guys should be all right. Do they bite? Yeah, but they're not venomous.
Well, you mentioned about like again pushing envelopes, but like this is where my mind goes. I'm like, okay, you go here, and then you take another step, and you're pushing into a point where it almost gets, I don't know, dangerous or too out of the control. Is there a ceiling for that type of content that you can only go to such a level of extreme?
Yeah, there is, and sometimes you can get lost in it, and
Yeah.
sometimes it can take you very far away, and it can ruin your career. It can like change the person that you are. You could probably even end up in jail or dead because you're trying to push the envelope. It's sometimes it's scary because sometimes the limits can be pushed, and the line is hard to see when you're in that sometimes.
Well, exactly.
What's been your biggest fear, right, all your life that, potentially, and I mean physically, like were you scared of spiders?
Yeah.
Obviously not scared of snakes.
Yeah.
Was there something?
I jumped out of the bath pretty
Was
quick.
there something in particular you've never liked?
Yeah, since a young age, I was like afraid of heights.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I always got like clammy hands thinking about like being on something tall.
Yeah.
But like, I faced that fear. Like I jumped off a bridge, like bungee jumping, and I jumped out of a plane as well. So that was pretty cool to face my fears.
Yeah.
But I'd say like anything that I'm scared of, I like to do because it pushes that mental barrier and kind of shows myself my own kind of resilience and confidence. It brings me confidence. Even to this day, like if I'm scared of something, it's good for me to do, like just to go out of my comfort zone and do it. And I think that's a lot of what we did in the Janoskians was like kind of pushing that mental barrier and seeing how resilient we are between our mates and who's the most strongest, like out of our mates. And at the moment, I'm doing like a lot of challenges. Everyone's like, oh, you should do the 3-liter milk challenge. You do the cinnamon challenge again. And I'm like, I'm doing the hardest challenge you could probably ever think of. And it's not getting that much credibility because there's no food dye in it. Like I'm running, I'm running 100 kilometers. Like nobody understands like how hard that is. And like also I've spoken about semen retention as well.
Yeah.
Like nobody actually knows how hard it is to deny yourself such a good feeling. Like, like it feels amazing. And for you to deny, I've denied myself that for 37 days. And I can guarantee like 99% of men have never done that before and call me weird because they can't do it themselves. It is literally the hardest challenge. Day 23, I was like scraping my head. I'm like,
Bored, and you're like, oh God.
Well, what's the goal there? How many days? Have you got a goal date?
So I'm going for 100, and then after the 100, like I'm doing that, I'll just like put goals up for like the clickbait, like for people to see. So I'm saying I'm going for 100 first, and then on the 100th video, there's an exclusive. I'm going to announce that I'm going to 500, and then once I get to 500, I'm going to announce that I'm doing it until marriage. I'm holding off until marriage.
Yeah, I was going to say, so day 101 isn't a day we're all
No,
really excited for you.
No, even though I know someone that went to day 100 and was like, yes, did it.
Do you want to fill up his... Yeah,
go for it.
But yeah, there's other challenges that just make me feel a lot confident about myself, like sobriety. I've challenged myself to stay away from drugs and alcohol, cigarettes, tobacco, nicotine, everything. Now for 500 and I think 13 days, I've got to check my app. So yeah, that's another one. And I want to start a new challenge of not swearing at all. But
That's a good one. I like that. That's something I'd like to get better at.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I feel like you can communicate a lot more clearer when you don't swear. And I think you just hold a lot more composure without swearing. So
we
that's
just do it not thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like we just do it.
So
it's an Australian thing. I don't know why.
That's the whole thing with these challenges is being consciously awake and consciously choosing the actions that I take to better my life and lead a more godly life. So away from sin to, eventually raise a well-educated family.
It's awesome, mate. It's really good. I mean, and I want to talk about kind of the LA lifestyle and the drug culture shortly. Just quickly before we move on, what's the worst injury either you or any of the boys, or worst thing you saw happen? Did anything really scar you from going too far?
Yeah. My brother, he got in a massive Zorb ball.
Yep.
You know those big Zorb balls, and we threw him down a flight of stairs, and then so there's a flight of stairs, and then it evens out, and then there's more stairs.
Yeah.
So when he hit that even out part, he bounced up, and it went. And then down the next flight, and his leg was hanging out.
Oh.
And the ball just rotated. If you can get it up, it's called public zorbing. His leg just rotated before it hit the next flight of stairs. So he could have...
His leg would have been crushed.
Boy, it would have been crushed.
Oh, we need to see that. We need to
that
see that.
was pretty scary.
Oh, well, Sammy will find it. He's a gun at that. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's it.
That's quick.
I think it's towards the end if you see a flight of stairs.
I thought that's the type of ball you meant, and I wasn't sure if it was.
These streets,
Yeah,
by the
yeah,
way, Beau,
yeah.
you must like the streets we're in now around this area.
This is Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah, but I was gonna say just around this area, like it just everything reminds me of you guys.
Oh, here we go.
No, that's not the one. That's not the one. There's another flight of stairs that are way steeper. It's next to elevators. Yeah. Oh.
Hey,
You want to push me down here?
There.
yeah?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh, he's about
I was
to
like,
push
Jay,
him.
are you sure, bro? Are you sure? And he's like, just do it.
Oh, no.
Oh. We get a close up of it.
There.
Oh.
Yeah. Jeez, that's so dangerous.
I don't think as a male, like that kind of content I'll never get sick of seeing
Oh,
stuff.
no,
like
me too.
that. So like you just watch that stuff all day. I never had brothers. I've got sisters, but I always imagine having brothers. That's what it'd be like.
How so when you get over to the States and you're also young, when do you get introduced to the party scene, or how do you get introduced to it? Because I'm assuming over there it's a different level to partying here with your mates, here.
Yeah.
Do you remember getting introduced to whether it was drugs or the bigger parties and the alcohol for the first time and your eyes being open to it?
Yeah, just disclaimer, we never touched any hard drugs in Los Angeles. I only started touching like party drugs like cocaine and MD and hallucinogens and stuff after I got back from America. So
Gotcha.
the first time we were introduced to marijuana, weed is like air over there.
Yeah.
I was the first day we landed, we got to the hotel room, and somebody that was on our team at the time walks into the hotel room and just drops a big bag of weed on the table, and he's like, "Welcome to LA, boys." And that was the first time I ever tried weed, and from that day we smoked up. I smoked up about 10 to 20 times per day after that day. So like I was introduced into it and straight into
Hooked.
it. And then alcohol kind of just crept up slowly because I was introduced to alcohol here in Australia. When you turn 18, it's just kind of like...
It's almost before 18.
Yeah, kind of. It's like 17, 16. Yeah. But for me, it was like 18. And it's just like in the culture, it's just like, oh, you're a man now, you can drink. Like you're an adult now. So it's kind of like expected to drink and to do that with like all your mates in high school and stuff.
Yeah.
So it started very slowly, like from Australia, and then we went into America, and it'd be like once every 2 or 3 weeks type of thing, and then slowly just creeps in, and then we ended up being the biggest party hosts in Los Angeles for young Hollywood, in our mansion, hosting these massive parties, spending about $1,000 to $2,000 USD on handles of vodka that we'd lay out on our kitchen table for all these young celebs just to get like drunk on.
So these singers and actors, or who are they?
These are like Kylie Jenner and The Weeknd, and then like young YouTube celebrities that were just like popping through. And then just like
I don't know why I'm
random
picturing
people.
potential child stars who are now adults, like who were on Nickelodeon or something for some reason. I don't know why that's coming into my head. But
what, child stars?
not child, like like I'm trying to picture like I don't know why, but I don't know why, but I picture Drake and Josh. Like I picture like those guys being like
probably.
those types of people.
Yeah, those type of people. They probably did come through. Yeah, all that young Hollywood kind of scene that rolled through the parties. Man, like there was such big names that I didn't even know were big names back then. If I said it to you guys, like it'd be impressive. But like, yeah, it was just huge parties, and we threw them every Wednesday because no one was throwing house parties on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And that's when we'd get like the most people coming through. And I remember like the Project X, how you mentioned earlier before, one of the parties we got like 300 to 400 people in, and we had a police helicopter circle over the mansion with a spotlight down on the house. And like we were all drunk, and it was my mate's birthday, and we rolled up a joint that was like this big. It was like a baseball bat made out of like A4 rolling paper that you get at like the weed shop. And we're like smoking and like looking up at the helicopter. I was like, whoa! It's like wild. And we had like cops rush through the house and kick people out. And then the radio host, Big Boy, after one of the parties finished, the whole house was trashed. And he's like, I had to wake up at 3 a.m. because I heard there's noise complaints here in my wife's fucking house. He's like, you're so lucky that I don't get my cats, which is his boys, because they all got guns to show up here. Like, it was wild, man. It was absolutely wild.
Well, I mean, you talked about not touching necessarily drugs till coming back to Australia, but there's also the fame side of things. So what does that do to you? I mean, obviously you're hanging out with all these, we public call them A-listers, right? Whether people agree or disagree, but you're hanging out with all these incredibly famous people, rich probably beyond their age. What does that do to your egos especially and how you view life and live life?
Yeah, so everything around us was not real. So everything that we put ourselves around, we were kind of idolizing and taking in. So like with the alcohol and the drugs and the fake people and the girls, and everything was keeping us away from our full potential. And I found that I kind of let that, and I ended up chasing the wrong things. Started with the right intentions, but then like, I know a lot of people that are watching are not religious, but the best way for me to describe it is that Satan makes the pathway to hell look so beautiful, whereas the pathway to heaven looks ugly. So everything around me was leading me into a place of destruction and death, but it looked so appealing, like the celebrities and the endless amount of cash and the big mansions and everything that was taking me away from God. I was chasing because I didn't know any better at the time, and I thought that's what happiness was, and I was on this pursuit of happiness. But what I've come to realize with age is that I'm no longer chasing happiness. What I am chasing is peace, because chasing happiness, I'll leave a whole path of destruction behind me, hurting whoever I can to make sure that I'm happy and it only matters about me. But when it comes to chasing peace, it's you don't want to hurt anybody. You want to be there with everybody and help them come along their way, because you don't want to have any hatred in their hearts, because that will reflect back onto you. So that whole life of me chasing happiness was out of selfishness and greed. And yeah, it seems so appealing to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because that's what they think they want until you get it, and you don't know what you've got until it's gone.
Well, now as we kind of like probably move now into this next chapter.
Yeah,
Just
cool.
before you do, I just want to
Okay,
ask one more question on that. Did you witness, because you hear about people, you use the word selling out, right? You didn't want to sell out.
Yeah.
Have you ever witnessed around that scene people literally selling their soul to a record company or a movie? Did you witness any of that? Does that exist? Or
I
not?
witness it every single day.
So what does it mean when we hear that?
Still now, it's people creating art to bring people away from God. Like, that's all it is. It's when rappers make songs about being in the club and doing drugs and sleeping with girls. That's what selling your soul is, because you are selling that to a whole range of people and getting as much people to try and follow that music. And once that music is like ingrained into someone's brain where they know the words and can repeat the choruses, that your words become your actions become your habits, and your habits become your destiny. So when people make that art to sell to the masses, they're leading them towards hell. And that's what selling your soul is. And Katy Perry's done it. Beyonce's done it. all these big people who are signed by huge corporations. We did it. My first song was I'm going to set this world on fire. So like I did that on purpose, not to get closer to God. That wasn't my intention. My intention was to become a huge music artist and gain a lot of money and fame, to get a mansion and get everything that I have got, which has been proof and shown on camera. So yeah, I've witnessed people sell their souls, and I still see it to this day. And when I listen to music, it reminds me of how honest and truthful it is.
So, and a big part of that, would you say, is also, correct me if I'm wrong, is it the people that are above them, the managers, the companies, these hierarchies that are actually pointing them in that direction, not necessarily pointing them in that direction, but telling them, hey, I can get you here.
Yeah.
I can get you to, you can earn millions of dollars. You can have the #1 hit in the charts. I could get you your own show on MTV.
Yeah.
But I can give you all that, but you have to.
There's a price.
Yeah. What did you say?
There's a price.
Yeah. There's a what?
There's a price.
A price. Sorry, I thought you said prize. Sorry, I was like, what prize? But there's a price you have to pay.
Yeah. They might have said that directly to me, but I don't remember that. But these people, they're not to blame. At the end of the day, you attract whatever it is that you are putting out there. So if I went and changed my intentions and wanted those types of things, I'm going to find those types of people that also want those types of things, that already know the algorithm to get to that type of place. So if I really want it that bad, I will go out and search for it and get it. So those people are not to blame at all. Beyonce's people aren't to blame. Beyonce is to blame for Beyonce's work and for who she is. Nobody's to blame for anybody else. So yeah, you like people can say, oh, it's because of your managers, or it wasn't. It was because I wanted things, and I had to get those things for me to understand what I truly want out of life.
Can people get there though? Because you hear celebrities come out and talk about this stuff, and you don't know how true it is. Some talk very openly about it and say, I was offered this, and this, and I had to literally sign. And then you hear people just actively deny it. So that's why I'm interested in hearing you talk about it. But like, can you get there? I don't know what the word
quicker?
is. Naturally. Like, can you get there can you get to levels that people strive for without selling out or selling your soul? Or do you think you literally, to get to certain like A-grade levels, you need to go down this path?
There's two paths you can choose from, and you can choose which path you want to go down. For me personally, if I had ever had enough money for a Porsche, I wouldn't buy a Porsche. I'd use that money to help people. So there's two very distinctive paths that you can go down. And at that time, I chose that path, and I did sign for it. So this is a funny thing about signing. When you sign on for money, they own your creative output.
Yep.
They own all of it. If you don't sign and you do things for good intention, you own your message and you can own whatever you want, but you're not going to get what you think you want at the start. So we signed on for the advances. Now they own us, and it's too late. So if we didn't sign, we probably wouldn't have had all those big things, those big luxurious things, because they wouldn't have owned us to be able to give it to us. So,
Do they still own all of it?
They own all of our music. Yeah.
It's scary because at the time you still, I get, and it's good of you to actually say, hey, like it's everybody's own work to get to a certain place and no one else is to blame. But at the same time, I still think you're still naive kids, really. Like you haven't lived a life of, you haven't worked in businesses, you haven't lived in the real world yet, and you're signing things that nearly every 18-year-old would sign.
Yeah, but at the age of 18, your brain is now mentally, it's now mentally grown. So I was raised with the Bible at a young age. So by 18, I should know the difference between wrong and right. And I did know the difference between wrong and right. And I just, I leaned into temptation. And I got everything that path could bring. And I'm very blessed to be able to say I got off that path, because if I kept going down that, I don't know how much more worse it can be. And from what I've seen from other people, it gets worse. It can keep getting worse.
Yeah.
So for you, one, did you completely not believe in God? For one, like when you went down that path, did you then end up going, "Oh, I know what's right and wrong, but I don't believe anymore, so I'm not even going to look at Christ," for example?
Yeah. Yep.
And two, what was your rock bottom to lead you back?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so in that lifestyle, it's in the back of my head, I know God exists, but he's not present. I'm not looking for God. He's not in this room right now. What's in this room right now are my thoughts of the next red carpet. It's God was not present. He was present. He was there the whole time. He was watching me the whole time, but I chose to turn my back on him. So the rock bottom was when I encountered God, and that's when my whole life turned around. And this was on my mum's 50th birthday, and I've mentioned this on other podcasts before, is I had a whole cocktail of different substances. It would have been 5 or 6 different substances mixed with like suppressants, depressants, uppers, hallucinogens, and pharmaceuticals, all mixed into one with alcohol and weed. It was on my mum's 50th. And so I don't know that night if I had a heart attack. My heart stopped, which I think it did because of all the different things affecting my heart. I think that's what happened. But I do remember I fell back onto my bed and there were people in my room. And when I fell back onto my bed, everyone left the room and turned off the light. And I went into this realm and into this dark place. It was just all pitch black, and I was just one with everything, and there was no thoughts, and it was just this complete wash of peace, and it was nothing and everything at the same time. And I kept going into these different vortexes, so to speak, and each different vortex was kind of a different parallel universe to the one that I was living in, until I finally came into the one that I was living in, and I saw my family around me, and then I got sucked back out into the black spot, and I got asked a question, why do you need to be in that realm? And I answered back, I don't need to be in that realm. I want to be in that realm. And I came back to, and I realized that I'm here because I want to be here. It's not because I need to be here. It's I want to be here, and I want to be here for my family. And then after a week or two, I realized that it's not the only way that I can be here for my family is if I am here for myself first. And the only way for me to do that is to ask God for guidance and to ask him how to live and how to be and what to do now, because the position that I was in life at that time when I had that overdose or whatever it was, I was guided by everything that I had built around me with those relationships around me that I had built over a period of time of going into temptation. So everything was reflecting back at me. So for me to start again, I had to completely start and think completely brand new. So I had to isolate everyone around me, get off the drugs, get off the alcohol, start exercising. And when I started exercising, I figured out there's a lot more I can do with my day. So I'm like, okay, I want to start making some money, and I want to start contributing not only to my household, but to society as well. So I went and got a 9-to-5 job, and then I started running because I realized that running for me, it was much better exercise than the gym. And what I was getting out of the gym was kind of what I was trying to serve myself in my past life, which was trying to look good and please people. But I realized running for me was an exercise that was personal, and I wasn't trying to shape my body, but I was more trying to shape my mind. So I started getting into running and working a 9-to-5 job, and like started to eat healthy. And slowly I gave up the cigarettes as well, gave up the vapes. And then I just kept going harder and harder at it, and harder at life, and just like giving myself the reward of life, and just understanding that it's hard and it's meant to be hard, and to just like keep going.
Would you, weird question. if you could go back to your 14-year-old self,
Yeah.
would you do it again or would you not?
Yeah, that's such a weird question. Like, man, I can't be bothered, bro.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I cannot be bothered. If someone's asked me, do you want to do it again? I'd be like, nah. I just want to, I just want to put my head down, work and grow a family. I'm so tired. So,
Yeah.
but there are some good things that have come out of it. As I mentioned at the start of the podcast, I now do have a foundation of a huge amount of people that are keeping up with like what I'm doing. So I can help people that were in my position that I was in and introduce to them what Jesus has done for me and what God has done for me. And also, you know, I kind of have always loved showing a little bit of faith in whatever it was that I did. And everyone has always called me crazy from the beginning when I started my online journey, whether that be like throwing up 3 liters of milk and stuff. Now it's like I'm putting up Jesus Christ online. Do you think I care about what people say about me? I didn't care about what people said about me back then. Now that I've got like Jesus on my side, like I like going online and being like, yeah, all right, I'm crazy, Jesus Christ. Like I like, and what that can do for some people is also show them a way of life that they never knew ever existed. And so I don't mind looking crazy in front of a bunch of people if it's going to help other people find their way.
It's a good answer because, for one, I think you're underestimating, too humble around what you did before. For one, because you walked in here and at the start, and a couple of the boys liked your work, and you go, oh, that's really nice, but you can tell that it still makes you a bit uncomfortable because I don't think you actually realize how happy you made so many people.
Yeah.
So throughout that time, I know it led you to a path, but it made so many people happy.
Yeah,
What you guys did, it was entertainment. And you brought laughs. Like even you see those clips and you go, no one's doing that anymore, or some people are, but and even you reference the Jackass boys. Like, I'm sure they have regrets around certain paths they went down.
I
know Steve-O talks about his stuff, which is probably on a whole nother level. But they still brought so much joy and happiness to people, and now
distractions.
It distracts people. So I think hearing your answer saying you kind of would be mixed. You're not sure if you would live it again. I think it's a good answer because it's in the middle. Maybe you could have, if you were to do it all again, but you could still stay closer to God, I'm sure you would do it.
Well, I am doing it again. So that's like, I am doing it again through God. So it's still the same, and I still hope to bring people joy, but in a different way now that I'm matured, and people can see that joy can come through other ways than acting like an idiot in front of other people and publicly embarrassing yourself.
Have you had any people that you were close to back then that were living a similar life to you that have watched and followed you and they've reached out to say, hey, you're impacting me in a positive way? Have you had that?
Oh, as in like now?
Now.
Yeah. I get it every single day.
Yeah.
People, every single day I get maybe 5 messages a day saying, hey, I used to watch your stuff. I've refound you again, and I'm so glad that I found you. I had somebody on Cameo book a video message from me today, actually, while I was at work, and they said, hey, I watched your stuff growing up, and I've just come across your account again. I was an atheist, and now I'm seeing you, and since I've seen you, I've started seeing more signs of God. Thank you so much for your new content now, because now it's bringing me closer to God. So there is a full circle, and a lot of people don't understand how I can go from the physical world into the spiritual realm, and it will be very, very hard for people to understand unless they accept God and open up their hearts to love. It will be hard for them to understand, but for the people that can understand, I do really feel like that it's making an impact. And that brings me a lot of joy to stay online, because it is hard to be online, because a lot of people, have you ever heard of the theory of, so there's a cage of monkeys and then there's a banana on top of the cage, and one monkey goes up to get it, and all the monkeys are happy until a human comes in and beats the crap out of that monkey. And so when it happens again, and a new monkey gets brought into the cage and they release a banana. The new monkey doesn't know what happened to the last monkey, so he goes up to get the banana, and then all the monkeys start beating on that monkey. So it's like cause and effect. So they've seen what has happened when somebody tries to go for something, and they'll bring them down out of fear. So that's what's happening to me right now. I'm getting about 90% of the comments on all of my stuff. And I can say, yeah, like I don't have to read them and stuff, but I still do, because sometimes I do connect with people through comments, and that's a big part of me being online. But 90% of those people are trying to drag me down and pull me down because they don't want to see me reach a higher level, because they're scared that they can't do it. And so it's hard, but it's worth it.
On that too, though, Beau, I also think, and we've said openly, like we come from a background of faith. I think people find the topic of God quite scary.
Yeah,
to be
I
honest.
think so too.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't. They might look at you and go, "Beau's crazy."
Yeah,
he's lost the plot.
Yeah,
I'm sure you get all those comments. Like, Beau's crazy.
And then people who want to have faith see those comments and say, I can't be like that because I'm going to get called crazy. Funny story, this actually happened to me at work today. I was listening to music and it was just like, oh, I can't stand it. I've got a headache. I have to listen to it anyway and get on with work. Then my mate's like, this music sucks. I'm like, I know, bro. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go put in a request to the boss. So I handed the boss 2 songs. One of them was Devil Doesn't Bargain, and the other one was Ocean's Hill Song, which are Christian songs.
Good song.
And I go to my mate who's Christian at work. I'm like, I just put in 2 song requests. And wait, which one's a good one?
Ocean.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song. And he goes, Christian songs? I'm like, yeah, bro, yeah. So he pulled me aside, a man of Christian faith, and he goes, he held me here and on my back, and he goes, bro, I don't think the workplace is a good place to play this music. I'm like, why? He's like, well, people have different beliefs. And I'm like, man, everyone's listening to all the music they want to listen to. Like, why are you so scared? And he's like, I just don't want you to get in trouble. I'm like, bro, I'm not getting in trouble. Like, if I was to get fired for this, it would be the next Nelson Mandela. Like, if you cannot stand up for your own religion in a free country, then you've lost all faith in God.
It's funny because we're like, it seems to be the Christianity or the Christian faith is the one faith that people seem so offended by now, which is bizarre. Like I don't want to start naming other religions, but everybody stands up for them that are not part of. They're not part of their religion, but everyone's happy to beat down on Christians. It just seems to always be that way. And I think, like, I've said this so many times. Like, I'm grateful I was brought up with those foundations, because if I wasn't, I don't think I'd ever go near it.
Yeah,
and like, it's interesting hearing from, say, celebrities, because when Justin Bieber, for example, he goes into the church and stuff, like, everybody straight away is talking about that it's either wrong or he's making money from it. And I don't know how true any of them are, but I think people do have that problem with celebrities mixing with religion. I don't know why.
Yeah, so we were told when we were under that never to bring up religion and politics, and the reason is because you won't get majority of the money, because what you're doing is separating and dividing. And so Justin Bieber and what I've done, people say you're using religion for money. I'm actually doing the opposite. Because if I wanted money from my audience, I would never bring up my faith and separate the potential customers. But because I'm that strong faith, I don't care about the money. What I care about is the values that the faith bring, which is forgiveness, bro. It's love, it's peace, it's joy, it's sacrifice, it's overall, it's just love. And it's so sad that we're being oppressed. And I think it's important for people to openly speak about. And if you want to listen to worship music, listen to it, because all music is worshiping something. Like, don't be afraid. In the Bible, it says over 356 times, do not be afraid.
You're doing good things, mate. It's actually a good conversation for me and you, like, because I know Daniel and I
Daniel, wow.
Sorry,
Yeah, it is getting serious.
Sorry, no, we have deep chats about this stuff, and we have like numerous times over the years. But we're lucky we have each other to talk about that stuff. You know, there's a lot of other people that don't. But I'm sure we could talk for another hour about this. And I know it's getting later. But we just probably want to. Well, actually, we're going to jump into Golf Box.
Yeah,
so
cool.
we
Absolutely.
definitely want to have some fun over there, and you'll be going home with a few goodies. Actually, do you want to share maybe what Beau might be going home with today?
Yeah, absolutely. So our great friends at Fleet Plan Hire Solutions, they're sending you home with a golf goodie bag. Now, they're not golf related, they're earth moving equipment, but they love their golf. So you're going to go home with a Fleet Plan Hire towel, balls, tees, gloves, socks,
Sweet.
and then golf box.
Golf Box is sending you home with a couple little golf goodies as well.
It's a dos&d poker chips, which is they've thrown into the mix.
Which is weird. But if you don't like golf, you will now. So you'll go home with some golf stuff.
I love golf.
But then what you will probably enjoy the most is you'll be putting for a charity of your choice. So
Awesome.
I'm sure you have a charity in mind, which we'll talk about when we head over there.
How do we find Golf Box though?
But head to golfbox.com.au for a fast and free.
Yep. Australia-wide shipping.
Australia-wide. Yeah, Beau, it's been a pleasure, mate. Thank you for being so open and raw and probably most importantly, thanks for coming because I know it was a tough thing for you to come after this morning.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah.
And it does mean a lot to us and we acknowledge you for that.
Thank you.
Because,
Thank you.
Yeah, hearing your voice before, can understand it's shit at the moment.
Yeah,
No,
it's
sorry, I
it's
shouldn't have
no,
swore.
it's hard. It's hard.
So we appreciate it.
yeah.
And good on you for coming in. Yeah.
Thank you, and thanks for being open and opening your hearts and listening. And yeah, I think it ended on such a beautiful note. I'm glad I came in.
Good.
Appreciate it.
Well, it's time for everyone's favourite segment, my favourite segment.
Oh, yes.
The Golf Box Putting Challenge. And who we've got with us, D?
Well, we have the great Beau Brooks. I can't wait to see how you go on the putting mat. Are you a good golfer? Do you enjoy golf, firstly?
I love golf, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So do you rate yourself?
On some days, depends. Yeah, that's golf. It's hit and miss.
Well,
yeah.
how's your short game, though? Your putting, that's what we're interested in.
I'd probably say I'm a better driver.
Okay.
I'm all right. I'll give you a run for your money for
Yeah,
sure.
Did you guys ever do any golf, picturing like golf course pranks, anything on a golf course?
Of course we did, man. Of course we did. The only time we were on a golf course was when we were blowing sirens. So now it's
Oh, that's a classic.
So now it's nice to be mature and actually use a golf course for what it's meant to be used for. And I swear, if there's any kids that ever do it to me,
Well, you're going to be playing for a charity today. What charity are you thinking of?
I'd like to do Beyond Blue. I like what they're doing with mental health and also with the marathon and fitness.
Oh,
the
yeah,
man behind the camera.
behind us. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful, mate. Well, we'll quickly explain the rules. So what you're going to do is you're going to putt 6 balls on this putting mat, which of course you can get at golfbox.com.au. But here's how it works, Beau. You're going to try and land it flush in this bullseye.
Yep.
That's 50 points.
Okay.
25 for this circle, 20, 15, and then this square's 10.
Yep.
Then working backwards, that black area is 5, 3, 1.
Okay.
Anything off the mat, 0.
There's
Yep.
a big one though.
What's the big one,
The big
Dos?
one is this little dot here. Right here. That's 100 points if you can land
Wow.
it flush.
Now, we had a really good golfer come on the show about a month ago that had a really good score of about 160.
Yep.
We think the only way, potentially, to beat that score is you might have to land at least one of them flush.
Yeah.
Wow.
But if
Wow.
you want to keep backing yourself into that bullseye, you can. But there will be a twist. We're going to do 3 balls.
Yeah.
We've got a curly question coming your way. and we're going to do a final 3 after that. So, you ready to take on the challenge?
Let's go.
Ready?
Let's do it.
So it. All right, we'll get that one
Go on,
first.
Beau.
Now, don't go too hard. Because that's what seems to...
Okay.
Let's see how it
That's a
goes.
good tip.
Beau's first part on its way.
all right.
That's a good leg.
It's okay.
Good leg.
What's that?
That's 10.
10. That's not a bad start. That's okay.
He's got the right length.
He does.
Just got to get a bit of line and we're right.
Yeah.
How's that
Oh,
looking,
Oh,
Dossie?
it's 10
way
again.
off.
Oh, it's come back to
So
10.
he's on 20.
It's on 20.
Oh, I need
Aim
that
for this
160.
red- Aim for this.
Yeah.
Come on, Beau.
In saying that, I'm a terrible one for advice because I was... There we
Oh,
go.
that's looking good.
No,
Too
it's
much,
kicking
I
back.
think.
Too
Bella,
far.
Bella.
All right. Before you keep
Before we
putting,
go.
come on, Sammy. Bring in the golf box. Dossie,
Thanks, Sammy.
find out what.
Draw that one out.
What's in the golf box? I should say.
Yeah, what's in the golf box? Give it a read.
What is the most awkward encounter with somebody famous?
That's a good one.
Probably a very good question.
Sounds planned.
Okay, the most awkward encounter that I've ever had with somebody famous was Ed Sheeran pissing in my wardrobe.
Really?
Is this one of your parties?
This was after a club party. He came back to our hotel room, grabbed a wine cooler from the side of our bedside table, went into the closet for some reason and pissed in it.
Come on, Ed. That's
off the top of my head.
That was good off the top of the head.
Yeah, well done. All right, final three.
So
Let's
we're on, what are we?
on,
We're on 20.
go. Come on, Ed. Press red for Ed.
Here we go.
That's
Next
okay.
part. That could be bullseye. Oh, that's 15.
All right, what are we on now, Ed?
35.
160.
Yeah. He was an NFL punter, actually.
But very good on the golf
But very good on the
Wow.
course.
So, Beau, I don't know what you want to go. I reckon one of these
Yes.
two you're going to have to go for it.
Yeah.
But do you want to go for the 50-pointer first? That could be
I'm gonna go for the 100.
going for the
He's
100.
going.
This would be huge. On
Tell
its
you what, it's not.
way.
Oh,
Little shallow
I didn't mind
though.
that. I didn't mind it.
That's 3. That takes us to
Okay, this is the
38.
last one. You got to go all out.
He's gone all out. He's dropped
okay.
it short.
It's
He's
all right.
dropped it short.
no.
But that's okay.
What's the final score?
Oh,
41.
golf is so frustrating.
That's all
41.
right. Well done, Beau.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Well
for playing
done, Beau.
along.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks for coming in.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Ross, where can the viewers get a putting mat like this or
Well,
the
this
spider
beautiful
putter?
putting mat. The spider. It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, this is nice.
Yeah, it is good. Head to golfbox.com.au to find the spider putter or the putting mat, but everything else they've got there as well. So, I was going to say it's already been Father's Day.
Yeah.
Good little present.
Christmas is coming
Yeah,
up.
Christmas
so
is
you can
coming
start,
up.
having a look around.
Yeah.
And, yeah,
But,
get all your good equipment there. But thanks again, Beau. Thank you for everything.
Awesome.
He's checking out the TaylorMade.
It's nice. It's actually a nice
it's
club.
It
Yeah.
smells good too.
This is my hands.
I was going to say a bit of leather, fresh leather.
I just went to the toilet.
Well, appreciate it, Beau. Thanks everybody listening. Make sure you subscribe, follow, do all that stuff. All the good
Awesome.
stuff. Thank you.